Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Rangers Review morning briefing for Wednesday, the 24th of May. I'm Derek Clark, and I'm delighted to say we're joined for the first time this week by Stevie Clifford. How's it going, Stevie?
Good, mate. Thank you. It's not a bad day here. It's a bit overcast, but we have walked the dog successfully. She's got the vet this morning, Derek, for a wee checkup. So
right, okay.
she's absolutely fine.
She had a poorly tooth, didn't she, recently? Is that right?
Aye, so this is why I'm going in, just to get it checked. It seems, I'm not sure it's as bad as I might have thought, but a wee checkup for the pup today, and then a bit of a relaxed day, and then the game tonight. So last one of the season. So looking forward to it. Derek, do you know what? I thought it was amazing that when I heard Michael Beale saying, obviously, that kind of forgot about it a wee bit, we could go unbeaten in the league at home if we avoid defeat tonight. And if you think about, I think the only drop points this season has maybe been the Celtic draw in Livingston, and I can't think of any others. So I knew it, but it kind of took me by surprise because it's not like we've had a great season. But that was an interesting stat straight away from Michael Beale. So I'm looking forward to it tonight, and it'll be a chance to say a wee goodbye to a few of them as well. So a good one ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a chance to, as Stevie said there'll be a number of players leaving. We'll talk about that shortly, folks. And before we do, just a quick reminder, we've got the offer on the website just now. If you want to wine and dine with a club legend on the 3rd of June at the Blue Sky Lounge restaurant at Ibrox, then now is a chance to take advantage of one of two offers we've got on the website. You can get exclusive access to a full year's worth of content. There's tactical analysis in there that you won't find anywhere else. Opinion pieces, features, big interviews. Stevie writes a column as well every week. So lots in there, folks. Just head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe to sign up. Just £12 for an entire year. Or we have another offer, £4 for 4 months. And also Stevie's got a brilliant code. If you stick Clifford10 when you go to subscribe, you'll get an extra 10% off. So now is the time to sign up. Stevie, if you were to choose a club legend to have lunch with, who would you choose?
Me, mate. I bet if everybody wanted to sign up for lunch with me, you would have record numbers. But no, I mean, a club legend. Interestingly, like I would love to have lunch with somebody like Richard Gough, Alan McLaren, that kind of era from the 9-0 era, you know, both captains at the time. Alan obviously captained the club the night we won 9-0 and stuff. I had Alan McLaren on a podcast really early doors, and he was incredible. Like he was just, he can tell a story. So, and obviously, I think Alan was one of the best left-sided defenders I've seen at that time coming through, but had a really bad run with injury. So, Derek, somebody like that would be my choice. Well, assuming Ali's not going to rock up and take us for lunch, so I would go for somebody like that from my kind of era.
Yeah. Wonder who I would choose. Like you, Stevie, John Gregg would be good as well. I think he would be a cracking guest. But if we're using the term legend loosely, then some other characters I would like to sit around the table with include El Hadj Diouf. I think you'd get a few stories. It'd be a pretty entertaining afternoon if you sit next to El Hadj Diouf for a bit of lunch at the Blue Sky Lounge. Let us know in the comments, folks. Like I say, if you sign up, if you subscribe to the website, then you get in with a chance for that lunch for 3. Thomas McCrinnan says lunch with Dave King. Yeah, that certainly would be interesting, wouldn't it? And Super Ali, yeah, absolutely. Lunch would go cold for the yapping, yeah, not half. Right, quick word as well for our podcast sponsors. They are back, Stevie. Can you believe it? I think you've had a word in the ear of these guys, Seneca Hair Restoration, the top dogs in the hair transplant biz. If you're looking for a dick advocate, Chris Boyd, Kamar Roof, I'm trying to think of any other players that have had hair transplants, then these are the guys to go to. I think me and Stevie would do we calling these, giving these guys a phone call as well. Maybe if we were looking for a Todd Cantwell this summer, perhaps I'd imagine there'll be a fair few bears asking for a Cantwell at the Barbers. But great to see Seneca back on board, Stevie.
It is, absolutely. I'd like a wee Todd Cantwell. I think I'd look good in a wee blue ribbon round the head and stuff like that as well, Derek. So, yeah, I've emailed Seneca every hour for the last 8 months. So, hopefully they reply to me at some point. But I'm willing to be their guinea pig and show everybody how well it can work. So, just get in touch, Seneca, and we'll make that happen.
Yeah, Pete Lawrence says, funny since the sponsor has started up, I've started losing my hair.
No, that's watching Rangers, mate. That's nothing to do with the sponsor. Like,
it's quite incredible. I mean, like you say, Stevie, before we look at the game this evening, you mentioned their chance to go unbeaten at home. The points tally that Rangers are on course to get in this season is second only to the 55 season, I believe, since they came back up to the top flight. Points-wise, it's been good. However, as we know, in Scotland, second place is nowhere, isn't it? So it's as much as it's been pretty good in patches, it's still ultimately been a very frustrating and disappointing campaign, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. I mean, anything that ends up with a treble. Sorry, did I disappear for a minute there?
Yeah, you're back.
Oof, computer had enough of me waffling nonsense already, Derek. Anything that has our rivals getting a treble isn't a good season. So, there's nothing we can say that's really going to pick that up. But it has been good in certain factors. There's been a couple of big moments this season. I think everybody would agree that the week before Giovanni left was particularly damaging. Defeat at St Johnstone, draw with St Mirren. That was 5 points that we never really got back. And that changed everything. Now, if that hadn't happened, it was unlikely that Gio probably would have lost his job. So there's big swinging moments there, I think, in this season from a Rangers point of view. But that was a really defining week, unfortunately. 2 really poor results. And then the New Year game, I would like to have seen us, Derek. If we could have just held on that couple of minutes, it would have been interesting to see if the whole dynamic of things would have changed. So perhaps a couple of big sliding moments there in the season. But overall, for Rangers, I didn't quite believe that. I knew, but it came as a slight surprise. And I thought to myself, wow, when Beale said that yesterday about the home run, because the Champions League games were so difficult, I think that's kind of clouded perhaps my opinion of the home games at times, because we took a right through a few bad results in there, obviously. So, I mean, there's nothing, it doesn't get you anything. It doesn't, but for us, it's things to build on. You want Ibrox to be a really difficult place to come. And I've said before, Derek, that I really feel for the first time in a long time that the change has been made. I can really get behind them both on and off the park. So you want these wee things to continue. You want Ibrox to be a fortress where people, really have to work for a result if they're going to come and get it. So it's there for them to do tonight. And it'll be a chance. Again, it's a chance for players that are fighting for their futures and to prove that they've got something to keep that performance level up. I thought they were good on Sunday. I thought that was a very good result on Sunday, considering the kind of injuries and the bench and stuff like that. So a couple of players have really impressed me in this little kind of mini run we've had. And again, I'll say it, albeit it doesn't mean anything and things have stopped, but it doesn't mean that you have to stop playing. It's still Rangers we've got to win.
Yes.
So, a chance again tonight. And listen, it's a chance to see Todd Cantwell, Nico Raskin again, stuff like that. So Big John Suter, Robbie McCrory, Red Van at left back. There's a lot of kind of positive wee things in there we can go and look at. So for me, Derek, really looking forward to it. It's been, personally from me, from a sort of Rangers review and Four Lads viewpoint, it's been a really positive first season covering the fan media side of it in terms of what I managed to do and achieve with the club and with yourselves and stuff like that. So this has been my first season questioning managers and stuff like that. So I hope that I've done all right for everybody, because I'm there to kind of ask what people are asking kind of thing. And so I hope that's went well, and we just kind of build on it. But I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Looking forward to a wee break from that side of it, Derek. And I'm really energised to see who's coming in and transfers. And there's going to be a lot, love a WhatsApp rumour. They've just been... They've just been coming thick and fast. So looking forward to that and the summer ahead. I think there's real good times to look forward to, Derek.
Yeah. Just off the back of that Stevie, that season you mentioned, a nice comment here from Death Surf. He says, "Morning lads, just listen to Stevie's piece on Four Lads Had a Dream about my Gers. Very good insight." You can find that on your website, can't you, Stevie? Interesting interview there, just explaining my Gers. So I urge you to go on and check it out, folks. Stevie does well. That's lots of question marks, a lot of supporters with regards to my Gers. It's not It's not a perfect solution, is it, Stevie? But it's good to get a clearer idea of it.
What's been really good recently, Derek, is that since James Bisgrove came in, I don't think it's a secret. James and I got on really well. He's very forward-facing with the support. That's something that I've advocated for a long time. People that follow me on here, and I've kind of read my stuff on Four Lads and that, which I'm very grateful for, will know that I've spent the best part of the last 18 months moaning about a lot of stuff that could be better. Well, the club, I'm not saying the club share that viewpoint, but if you look at recent things that have happened, there is a sea change in attitude, and one of the ones they want to be more engaged in is with the support and fan engagement and being more forward facing. So they invited me in, I think about 6-7 weeks ago, to speak to David Milburn of customer service, and I got a massive insight into how they run that and what they do. And if nobody's seen that, I'd really urge you to go and check that out, because that's a great piece, and it gives you a real insight on what to do. Like, for anybody that might have an issue with a season ticket or a seat, anything, even the minor things, that gives you a brilliant insight into what to do and how to fix it and how Rangers fix it and stuff like that. And that was really interesting, really quite geeky, but I like that kind of thing, so it was really interesting, Derek. And then the club have continued that dialogue, so they're looking for ways to get more information out to the support about things that we might think or we might have questions about. And one of them was my jersey. So I did an interview with Greg Marshall, the SLO, and we done some questions.
Yeah.
And he shared some kind of myth and on the updates and things like that. So my jersey isn't perfect. I don't think it is perfect. We have a fan base that get 3,000 tickets and 20,000 people apply for them, Derek. So it's never going to be easy to try and get a solution that satisfies everybody. But in relation to that one from Johnny there that says it's kind of forced upon us, that's an interesting thing, because I understand it. I understand that viewpoint, but that membership for the club brings in, it's close to, I think, £1.5 million, £2 million a year. It's 55,000 members, I think we're heading towards now. Most European clubs have a membership scheme similar. Even down south, they have some teams have it similar. So this isn't just a Rangers thing. But yes, it's about maximising income for the club and getting different ways to bring in that money. But that money all goes back to the club and the team and what we're spending it on. So I appreciate it's not the most popular thing and people have their gripes. But, even myself, it cost me the same as everybody else. I think I got 2 tickets this year for away games. But I don't mind that. It's money back to the club. It's a wee away day here and there. So I understand it, Derek. But I think today helps when you get a more forward-facing kind of attitude from the club, and what Greg's promised to do. If there's more questions, then we can do follow-ups and things like that. And there's an opportunity as well to speak to more people from the club in coming weeks and months about their roles and finding out a wee bit more about what goes on behind the scenes. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of appointments. Going to have a new head of the academy, new sporting director. We're going to have new commercial manager, stuff like that. James's role is going to totally begin. We'll be speaking to James. There might even be an avenue to speak to the chairman in times for a kind of fan media point of view, Rangers Review included, in the summer months ahead. And that's the kind of engagement they promised from now. And Derek, considering it was a year or so of complete silence after Australia and things like that, it's great that they're so forward-facing. I mean, James turned up at a press conference just last week or so, and all that's good, answering stuff about safe standing and old firm allocation and stuff like that. And for the first time, I truly believe it's not lip service. For the first time in a long time. So I'm really pleased with what's happening there. And the My Jersey thing, hopefully it gives people a wee bit more information and a few more questions answered and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's get to a few of the questions that are coming in. First of all, Kev Armstrong says, Derek, are you sitting with the big light on at this time of the day in the middle of the summer? Good, well spotted there, Kev. Yeah, absolutely. I'm on stage at the moment, Kev, so you can't take chances. You need to have proper lighting just in case, clouds start forming to my window, which is just over yonder. So the big light is on.
Don't take any stick from Kev. He's dying to come on here. Text me all the time so you get me on Rangers Review and stuff. But we're not having it, I'm afraid. So just keep them to the comments, mate.
Yeah. And an interesting comment coming in as well. Andy McInnes, he says, when's this Rangers Review live show, Derek, with my second being born? I need plenty of notice for a night out. Watch this space, Andy. That is something that we'd love to schedule at some point in the future. So all I would say with that is there may be an announcement at some point in the future. Very much looking forward to doing
in the pipeline, isn't it, Derek? So
yeah.
There's been top level management discussion at Rangers Review, so I'm obviously not involved, but hopefully we'll all hear.
So just watch this space, Andy. I'll make your concerns known to the hierarchy because folk need to get babysitters and what have you and all that and such alike. So as soon as we hear news, then you'll hear it also. Right, let's get to the on the pitch stuff. Well, first of all, just on your spiel there, Stevie. James Strachan says, Stevie, try not to upset our players in the future going forward. And then Hugh says, I'm glad you interviewed Big Bad John. You've re-energized the big man. He's been playing out his skin, Stevie. So I think you should take sort of a lot of the plaudits for that.
It's funny because Michael Beale said he had discussions with individuals and stuff. And it's no coincidence to me, perhaps I'm reading more into it, but it's no coincidence to me that John Lundstrom settled down recently. I think maybe there's been a discussion there and his future's been clarified. John's probably one that does have a future at the club, but we obviously need to get his contract situation going again. It was funny. I mean, that's obviously a funny kind of moment for me. You know, I got a bit of a double take at the time, like Big John. And then what people don't see is afterwards he was brilliant with me. You know, he's giving it, I had you there, La, and all that. And I'm like, very good, John. Thanks very much. But whenever I see John up at the training ground and that, he's brilliant. So, and I told him that my young fella, Young Jackson, he's 6 now, and he's taken John to be his new favourite player because he gave his old dad stick. He found it very funny. So he goes about singing John Lundstrom is the best on earth whenever I'm in near trot and stuff like that. So I'm quite happy for Lunny to keep playing the way he is because the comment there is absolutely right. He has looked re-energised. I thought he was great in the old form and I thought he was good at the weekend as well. He seems to be the balance of him, again, Kev's just said it right there, not being central seems to really help him. Yeah. He's got a wee bit more of a freer role and stuff like that. So interesting I think maybe he suits box to box slightly better, possibly. So again, it's just a kind of dynamic to look forward to. Would he be a starter? I'm not so sure. I still think we need work in there. I still think one needs to come. We've spoken about that before. I've written about that before, and I think that Cifuentes might be that answer. But John will be a part of it, I think, going forward. So I'm certainly not asking him about his future again anyway, Derek. I'll leave that to Joshua. So somebody else could ask on it. So
just on Cifuentes, folks, interesting you mentioned him there, Steve. I had a chat with a podcaster that covers Los Angeles FC. It was really good, gave a lot of insight into him. Actually plays as a number 10 predominantly for LAFC, which was interesting, but can play other roles. He's played as a false 9 as well, which was quite intriguing. So the transcription is on the website, folks, and it's on our YouTube channel as well. So I urge you to go and check it out. It's about just about 13 minutes long. So a really good bit of insight. And of course, Timothy Tillman over there, who's actually keeping Cifuentes out of the side at the moment. I was told, obviously, Malik's brother over there. So yeah, very interesting indeed. But that is a move that seems to be edging ever closer. Let's get let's get to some of the comments that are coming in here. First of all, the Blue Yonder says, our dilemma here in Thailand, it's at 1:45 a.m. kickoff. Do I have a few beers and try to stay up or get my head down for a few hours? I say stays up, Stevie. What say you?
No, there's about 10 hours to kick off or something. I would have a few beers, then get some nap time, and then get up plenty of time.
Make sure you set your alarm, though. That's what I would say. That you run the risk of sleeping in, I would say.
I wouldn't be staying up. No, not a chance. I'd be knackered. No. Get a wee nap in, a few beers to settle yourself down, and then get a wee nap. That's my answer to you there, Blue Yonder.
Yeah, there you go. There's some sound advice for you there, buddy. Let's get to the players that are departing, Stevie. Of course, it was announced just prior to the press conference yesterday that Alfredo Morelos, Ryan Kent, Scott Arfield, Alan McGregor, and Phil Hollander will be departing. Be interesting to see how many of those will take to the pitch tonight. Denzel gets in touch. He says, I think the list of departing players was predictable, all apart from Arfield. He's the one player who comes off our bench that the opposition fear. Crucial goals, he says. Michael Beale did say that it pulled on his heartstrings when he had that chat with Scott, and they came to a decision, an amicable decision, that he's going to leave at the end of the season. Would you have liked to have seen him kept on, Stevie, or is now the time for a parting of the ways with Rangers and Scott Arfield? I think that the rest of the players were all expected, the other quartet.
Yeah, I think I'm on record as saying here before that I wouldn't have given him another deal. But Scott Arfield, what I do think, Derek, is he's maybe just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Because there's such an urge for change, and because it needs it, and because the squad needs it, I think that possibly what's happened is that he's just unfortunate, because if he had maybe went out of contract in a normal summer at other times where things had been all right and things had gone well, then I'm pretty sure that Scotty gets another year quite easily. He's certainly warranted it. He's had some good cameos here and there. But at this moment in time, it's probably the right thing to do for the squad and for him. We need a whole new direction. We also need legs. We need energy. This squad needs energised. It's needed it for a long time. So I think that, Scott's maybe not getting a lot of game time either. So he hasn't played a lot under Beale. He hasn't played a lot at all. So it's not really that big a surprise. But Scott Arfield's somebody that can look back on his Rangers career and tick all the boxes and say it's been an absolute success. He's given everything. I don't think he's ever kind of let us down on or off the pitch. There's been times where the team hasn't played well and things, understandably, but as a contributor, Scott Arfield to Rangers has been incredible. Scored some really fantastic goals. We're all going to miss the salute. He was part of 55, part of the team that went to a European final, scored his penalty in a European final, and has been a really big player for us. So Scotty, goes with my best wishes. I think everybody's best wishes. I don't think there'll ever be, anything. But really big loss on and off the pitch, absolutely. But I do think it's time, Derek. This team, for a long time, has been very similar. And sometimes you need to get big characters. Perhaps they need to leave for others to flourish and people to be able to come in. Michael Beale said something really interesting. Interesting to people if they caught it or not. He says that when he's bringing players in, you need to bring them into an atmosphere where it allows them to flourish and allows them to grow themselves. And I think that's what he's alluding to there. Sometimes when you get big presences and big characters in the dressing room, you don't quite get that. So this is a real fresh start for everyone. But I'll certainly be sad to see Scott Arfield go. Definitely a really great ambassador for the football club. And I hope that he goes on and has a one last final fling, maybe a goal, maybe a salute, something like that would be lovely. But I really hope that he goes on, gets a good team and continues to play, because he's certainly got stuff to offer the club or clubs. That's
yeah, certainly has. Yeah, good friend of the show, Adam Thornton, gets in touch. Says, "Morning, pal. Shame to see Arfield in particular go, but he'll want game time. And Cifuentes and Dill coming in to play at his positions could see him even less next year." Yeah, I think there is an understanding that game time will be even further reduced than what it is now. Can you see him starting tonight, Stevie? I've got him in my predicted lineup. I think he'll start the game. I think that's likely.
I mean, he could start. I think that's fair. I don't. I haven't really given team selection or that much thought. There's a potential. We shout out for Adam, by the way, Derek. I missed him. I've missed him. He's not been on the show for a while, so it'll be good to see him back. I know he's doing the Heart and Hand live show on Friday night, so all the best to him for that and stuff. And really like talking to Adam. Always like to get Adam's opinion on things. He speaks really highly of Kieran Dowell, who we think is, or we know is coming in. So we think maybe that later on today or whatever. But he speaks really highly of him. So always rate that, that opinion. So I think he's right, though, with these boys potentially coming in. I think game time. And then you've got others round about that, what's happening with Hadji and stuff. Tom Lawrence is coming back. So it'll be interesting. I would like, it'd be nice if he could start and have that wee moment tonight. I think it would be one that we would all enjoy, certainly. But as I said, there's no criticisms or anything about Scott Arfield and his time at Rangers, that's for sure.
Yeah, and good to see Ian Hall commenting as well. Morning, Ian. He says, "I'm surprised Arfield is leaving, given his presence in the dressing room, his destination." Question mark. Stick a tenner on the Hearts. Yeah, I think he'll do a job for any team in the Premiership, bar Celtic. Stevie, I think wherever he ends up, it'll prove to be an asset. I see murmurings that he could potentially be going to Livingston. I'm not too sure how true those are, but he could play anywhere still for another couple of years, I reckon. He's still got plenty to give. It's just Rangers obviously going in a different direction at this moment in time.
Yeah, totally fair. I think that just kind of sums up what I said, about him being able to go elsewhere. Livy Hearts would be lucky to have him, I think. The possible good thing about that is if he goes to somewhere like that, there's a potential that he might pitch in with crucial goals for us at some point against our rivals. So that's not a bad idea.
Not against us, that'll be good.
Yeah, well, there's always a possibility that'll happen. I don't mind him getting one and saluting the crowd if it's 4-0 or something at the time, but hopefully it'll not cost us too much. But that, you run the risk of that, but it's not the reason to keep him. And with Scott doing his coaching badges and all that, then there might be a chance to see him in the future at the club. So it's certainly, his kind of attitude and things off the park, then that might be something that we see. But interesting to see. Look, I just wish him all the best. I wish all the boys all the best that are leaving.
Yeah,
it's time. It's right decisions, But you look at Alan McGregor, club legend, arguably up there with Gorham as the best ever. I know there's a bit of debate around that. That's opinion absolutely brilliant. I don't mind that at all. It's nice to have those kind of discussions. Philip Hollander was brilliant for us, Derek. Unfortunately, made like a rich tea biscuit, and just we never get to see the best of him. But he was.
I'd imagine he'll go back to Sweden. I'd imagine or somewhere.
Yeah, he'll end up at Malmo, I should imagine. Yeah. But I mean,
he's about 65 games a season.
Well, he's not even started his rehab yet, so
yeah, he's still a long way away.
He's still quite a bit away, so we'll see. He's had a dreadful time of it. And then obviously Ryan Kent. It could have been so different from Ryan Kent if he had taken that chance. We all know the one or that chance had went in. He could have been a club legend. He could have been untouchable. But I think his enthusiasm has kind of waned quite a bit in this last year. He's somebody, Derek, that I would have loved to have seen stay. And I've said it, I would have pushed the boat out for Ryan Kent at times. But I think this last 3, 4, 5 months, I think he's checked out. We had that discussion. I think the semi-final kind of was the last throw of the dice. I think you've seen that. And I think once that happened, Michael Beale withdrew him at half-time. I think that was the end for Ryan Kent. I think everybody knew that as well. And Alfredo's Alfredo, what a player for us he's been. Just unbelievable striker. That 2019 run, Michael Beale, I was quite pleased because obviously we had that debate a couple of weeks ago and I got a bit of a thrashing for it. But Michael Beale highlighted himself just how good he was, highlighted Porto and Feyenoord like I did as being the kind of pinnacle of Alfredo. And I think that's absolutely fair. He's somebody, for his goal return and everything else, he's given us incredible moments. And yes, listen, he's let himself down. Of course he has. It's a case of what maybe could have been for Alfredo, on the verge of being untouchable, I think, at the club if he had won some more and really stuck in at points where he hasn't. But I think he needs something new as well. He needs a new challenge. But I'd love to see him go to Seville or somewhere, wherever he's going to go. I'd love to see him go and really smash it and do those old-fashioned knee slides again and pick him up somewhere, on Sunday night on the telly and see him do that. But I wish them all the best. I'm not sorry to see any of them go now because I think we need that change. So, but there's no criticisms here. There's nothing. I hope that history is kind to them. They were all part of the team that returned the club to where it should be. They were all part of a team that got to a final and things like that. So there's lots of positives here, and they'll remain a huge part of the club's history. That's for sure.
Yeah, there will be other players leaving, of course, that are in contract. I've seen reports yesterday about Scott Wright. Chris Hutton says, any truth in Wright going to Preston? I think, by all accounts, he's a squad player. I think that Rangers wouldn't be too difficult to deal with if clubs were to approach them about taking Scott Wright off their hands. Would you be surprised to see Scott Wright in the squad next season, Stevie?
I'm just going to say this right here, right now, Derek. This is a disgusting betrayal from Michael Beale. I campaigned for him to get the job, and then to do this to Scott Wright is just utterly shameful, to be quite honest with you. I'm shocked and upset. But no, listen, in reality, I think everybody knows I like Scott Wright. When he first came in, that 6 months he had under Gerrard, and that first move, that first kind of period, he was really good. Then he had a wee bit of a renaissance under Gio, obviously scored in the cup final against Hearts, played in the Europa League final out in Seville. So Scott Wright's done a lot of things at his time Rangers, but it's absolutely right. I think the issue is with Scott Wright, he had quite a bit to go, and he maybe made it a wee bit and then stopped, and then has came back down. And we can't afford for that anymore. And I think players have went past him as well that we've got in or maybe coming in. So Scott Wright's another one that you kind of wish all the best. He'll not be the only one. I think, you look at the likes of Kamara, you look at Scott Wright, you look at John McLaughlin. There's question marks over Borna, Lundstrom, obviously with their contract situation. Ben Davies, I'm not sure Ben stays either. So there's big question marks about not only Scott Wright, but I think as well as the ones that have been released, Derek, there'll be another half dozen or so that go out the door as well for money. Does Yanis Hadji stay and things like that? There's question marks over a few of them. I still think a few of them are untouchable, kind of, obviously Cantwell, Raskin and stuff. That team will be built around them, but there's going to be more business at Rangers, that's for sure. I still think we're looking at, and I predicted this before, or we talked about it before, Derek, I think you're looking at well over a dozen players leaving, and you're looking at anywhere between 6, 8, 10 kind of levels for us coming in, depending on what he gets and what he thinks. I think round about 8 will be what we see coming in. If I was to put myself on the line a wee bit. So there's lots of business to do, and I think, not only the ones that are leaving, as we said, guys like Scott Wright, if there's money there to be had, I think Preston's a decent level, nice wee stadium and stuff like that.
Brilliant move if he gets down there.
If he gets down there, and I think he'll do well as well. He has, he is capable of those direct runs, pace, shooting and stuff like that, and he'll probably thrive at a level where there's not as much scrutiny as there is up there. So I don't think he's staying, Derek. I think that's fair to say.
Yeah, Xander is also heartbroken, Stevie says. I was crying when the right news broke. We'll miss him dearly. Started a European final. Not many can say that. Right. Wanted to get your thoughts, of course. Michael Beale teased a new signing that could be announced tonight, Stevie. It's Kieran Dowell is the man that we all expect to be announced as said signing this evening. You said as much yesterday. It's a deal that's been done for a wee bit of time now. We're just waiting on the official announcement. Just a teaser, folks, as well. I'll be speaking to Chris Reeve, who covers Norwich City down there. He gave us the lowdown on Todd Cantwell back in January. So I'm going to speak to him just shortly after this video, and he's going to tell me all about Dowell-Odinho, as he likes to call him, Stevie, which I'm quite excited about. But Kieran Dowell coming in, it's one of those ones. It's the start of the rebuild, if you like, Stevie. But on his days, he's a decent player. I think Rangers. I think he won't be the star name this summer, but by all accounts, he would be a decent addition to the squad for next season.
Yeah, listen, I can't pretend to be someone that's knows a lot about him. Believe it or not, I've seen him a few times and I don't remember much. I've seen him, obviously watched a wee bit of Norwich, so I've seen him. I spoke to Billy to ask him what kind of player he was, and Billy said he's really good technically, really good on the ball. Floats about, can play either side, can play in behind. So there's that versatility. I think, the youngsters, the hipsters call these guys hybrid players, Derek, that can play around and stuff like that. In my day, they were just versatile. So somewhere in between there, we've got a player like them. But young fella speaks really well of him, says he's really great in the dressing room and all that kind of stuff. So I don't think there's any issues there. I can't claim to be a huge hugely knowledgeable about him, but he's 6'1". He's got decent potential. He's had a few injuries, that's for sure. But I don't think we're bringing him in to start. I think he's in there, and we might be able to manage that a bit better and stuff like that. We have an incredibly good medical department, apparently, Derek. Somebody once said. So let's see how he gets on up here. All joking aside, they are doing, there are changes coming in there. So we'll wait and see what happens over the summer. But it's not, as a free transfer, as a start. If you look at him, you look at Sterling, you look at Butland, you look at getting the boy Cifuentes in, stuff like that. You could end up getting 4 guys in there for less than £1 million. It's very smart business. So it's all positions that we need and stuff. And Rangers have got to have a smart summer. They've got to have ones where they're right, on point. Interesting thing, and something I hope for. Sometimes when you get a lot of fanfares around players, they don't quite go, and it's the ones that slip in, kind of under the radar that make the most impact. So hopefully this lad has the same kind of impact. It'll be interesting. We think that'll be announced later. We'll wait and see what happens with that. It's never done until it's done. But by all accounts, he's up and he's here and stuff like that at the moment, and he'll be taken in the game later. So we'll look forward to that one, Derek. He's a new signing. He's at a right age and stuff like that. I'm excited. Yeah, one of these, it's our kind of model, isn't it? One of these guys that burst in, had all the kind of hype and stuff around him, got rave reviews at Everton and things like that, and is maybe then kind of slightly dipped. So similar to Todd Cantwell. We'll be hoping that he has the same kind of burst and stuff like that. And it's where we are. We can't afford 5, 6, 7 million for guys that are ready made and stuff like that, or even more money they might cost. And I happen to think, Derek, and I've said this before on here, any money that we might have in the summer, and he does have money, he does have a good amount, we'll be spending it on forward players. So I wouldn't be surprised to see guys like this, and then you'll maybe get 3, 4 others coming in for maybe £3 million type of thing. I think that's where we might come in, and that money will be spent on forwards and stuff like that. Or they might even spend big on one number 9, and then you'll get another. So interesting dynamic. It doesn't surprise me to see guys like this kind of come in. And I welcome it. I look forward to seeing what he's like. We asked for change. We've got it now. So let's embrace it and see where it takes us.
Yeah, interestingly, Rangers were actually linked with him back in 2018 when he was at Everton before he joined Sheffield United on loan. It's when Gerrard and Beale were there before, so he's always been a player that Beale's been aware about. And I've watched him when he was at Wigan on loan. I remember I covered a game for TalkSport when they pumped Hull City 8-0 at the DW.
And he got a hat-trick.
And he scored a hat-trick, he scored a hat-trick. It was quite an unbelievable game, that one. So, listen, if you can recapture that form, then I think we've won the watch here. But, as a few comments have come in, he has been out injured, which is just typical at the moment, of course. But hopefully he can get himself fit and he can play a part next season on a freebie. I think it's a pretty shrewd move from Rangers. Tonight then, Stevie, score prediction. How do you see it going? Of course, will McGregor start the game, do you think? Or does he come on like we saw in the Scottish Cup final last season? How's it going to play out tonight?
Thing about McGregor is, he probably does, not probably, he deserves, to have his moment at Ibrox and a chance, but you'll get that in his testimonial, Derek. We've got to be thinking, where is Robbie? So I'm still starting McCrory, and I'm bringing Alan on, maybe 10, 15 minutes left.
Yeah.
So that's where I am on that situation. Morelos, I'm the same. Kent, if these boys, any of them are available, I'm not sure where Kent is. I can't remember what he said yesterday, if Kent was back in training or not.
I don't think you mentioned them, actually. That was interesting. You did mention a few players that were back training, but Kent wasn't mentioned.
Derek, it wouldn't be surprised me if he has actually signed for somebody else, or there's something went on and maybe not. He's just decided not to commit him to any games. But either way, he'll get his send off at the end. I'd like to see probably Arfield get the start, like you said. Morelos get some game time off the bench. Obviously, Hollander can't play, so that's where I am kind of with it. We've still got to win the game. We've still got to see where certain players are. Hearts are going to come and have a goal, which might be interesting. They need to win. By all accounts, I think the Aberdeen will probably seal third place tonight with victory over St Mirren, and then I don't see Hearts getting anything at Ibrox tonight. I think Rangers will win it by a goal to spare. And look, Van der Hog there, Hog, he's. I don't disagree with that. There's 0 point. I get that, but it's a chance maybe to see Alfredo 10 minutes at the end and give him the send off he maybe deserves. I think that's where I am with it. But with regards to starting or that, then I think the argument's there for all of them is similar. So
yeah,
it's only really the romantic side that wants Scotty Arfield to start and stuff like that. So all I want, Derek, I just want more positivity around guys like Robbie McCrory, John Souttar, Ridvan, Nico Raskin. I want to go and watch Todd Cantwell. He's exciting. Really bit of, really gravitating towards him. Love watching him. And then guys like Lundstrom and that, can they continue their form? Ryan Jack next to him, etc. It's always a challenge to see who's going to put the ball in the net as well. So looking forward to it, Derek. And I'll go for 2-0 Rangers.
That's what Peggy's going for, Stevie. She's going for a 2-0, as is Ross Jameson, although I'm not quite sure it will be the goal scorers, like you say, as he says. 2-0 Rangers, Hadji free kick and a Goldson header, unless he's had some sort of Marvin Andrews-style miraculous recovery from injury then.
Maybe it just means John Souttar header, so we can...
I take that. Well, although saying that, Michael Beale said that the game's not ideal for Souttar, so obviously comes in quick succession from the game at the weekend. Maybe see John Lundstrom at the back, Stevie.
Aye, let's not get carried away there. Listen, John, I'm sure John Souttar will be fine to play, at least 60 minutes or so, and then maybe move him back or whatever. But I don't think Lundstrom and King. I know it's last game of the season at home and stuff like that, and it doesn't matter, but let's not get carried away too much. I think they've got some decent fast speed players up front, Ginnelly and stuff like that. So I'm not sure I fancy either of them boys try to track him back. So, Beale says a lot at times in pressers and then, keeps everyone guessing and stuff. I remember he was going on about having two up front for a long time and we've still not seen that.
Yeah.
So I'll take it with a pinch of salt, maybe. We'll see where we go.
Yeah. Okie dokie. Well, I think that'll do us there, Stevie. Thank you very much to everyone for interacting with the show. Big thanks to Stevie as ever as well. Just a reminder that Joshua will be at the game for us this evening, so there'll all be the pre-match and post-match reaction from Ibrox. So stay tuned to our YouTube, Facebook and Twitter accounts for all from Ibrox this evening. Also, just a quick reminder as well, if you're just joining us, if you're aware of the website offer just now, it's 12 months for just £12, or you can take advantage of the 4 months for £4 offer. Not only that, if you subscribe, you then get entered into the draw for that meal for free at the Blue Sky Lounge restaurant with a club legend, no less, as well. So head over to rangersreview.co.uk/subscribe to sign up. Okay, we'll be back again tomorrow. We're reporting on another Rangers victory under Michael Beale. But until then, enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Bye for now.